Hi, good morning. This is Tom. Just want to waste a little bit of time here to let more people sign in. Um, but just to let you know a couple of the ground rules as we get started. I've got everybody muted, so if you have any questions or have any comments, you should see a tool section over on the right-hand side with a questions or a chat window, and that's how you can alert me. You can raise your hand in the toolbar as well, and I'll try to get to your questions. One of the things with this, though, too, as I was discussing this issue with the legal department from NAR yesterday, they told me right off the bat, just try not to read too much into this policy other than what it strictly says on its face. If you start to interpret it and start to read into it and try to extend it to other areas of your websites and your use of MLS data on your personal website, it'll get too confusing. So we'll just try to keep it strictly to the talking points that NAR had, and we'll move on. Okay, so to get started, I just wanted to give a brief history of what IDX, or broker reciprocity, is all about. And as you know, most everybody has a piece of your website where you allow the public to come and search for listings, and they will search for your listings. They will search for listings out of the Jersey Shore MLS or any other MLS that you belong to. So this new policy change will not affect the way that your personal web pages still work. You'll be able to show all the listings from everybody in the Jersey Shore MLS without a problem. Now, the policy about showing information on the internet was modified and became effective on January 1st, 2011. And at that time, the big franchisors argued that they were at a disadvantage because the internet giants like Google and different search engines and all the internet providers like that were able to index all of your websites so that if a person would come to do a search and look for homes for sale in Tom's River, for example, they would have links that would go back to any broker that had ever had anything on their website that spoke about homes for sale in Tom's River. So I did this search just the other day, 2-bedroom homes for sale, Tom's River, New Jersey, and came up with 95,000 websites that had something to do with that phrase. So the big franchisors argued that they were at a disadvantage, and NAR, trying to keep you and the realtors in general ahead of internet search engines, modified the rule to allow the national franchises like REMAXinternational.com and ColdwellBanker.com and Century21.com to allow them to show all the listings from all of their local franchisees in one search result on the internet. Then, this year, at the mid-year meetings in May, the mid-sized brokers came out and they argued that they were at a disadvantage because they didn't have affiliates in each MLS across the country. And they argued that it was unfair for the big franchisors to show MLS information from a local MLS to participants or under the heading of somebody who is not a participant, because you have to remember, for example, REMAX International is a franchisor. They are not a real estate company. They're not a broker. So the argument was, how come somebody who's not even a real estate licensee is showing my listings on their website? This whole policy that came out was a temporary solution until the MLS committee reviews the total policy and makes a recommendation coming up in November. So again, this is just a temporary thing, but it's a lot of hoops that we have to jump through to keep in line with NAR's rules. Okay, this should be an opt-in by each broker of record, not office by office, but for the whole firm. It's an individual business decision, so there's no inference of collusion or boycotting any particular franchise, and your listings will appear if you're a member of a franchise. If you're a Century 21 company, your listings will still appear on century21.com. This just affects your listings appearing on other national franchisor websites. We've set it up on the recommendation of NAR that you can select to blanket and say, yes, I want my listings to show up on all franchises, or you have the menu where you can pick and choose. And I think I've identified about 20 different franchises, and I don't know if that's all of them that's out there, but it's really been tough to try to even figure out who is a franchise and who is not. So with this rule that was passed by NAR on May 14th, it was a 30-day waiting period. So June 13th is the last day that the national franchises will be able to show all the listings from across the country unless you respond and say, yes, I want my listings to appear on all these other websites. So how do we do this? I've set this webinar up so that immediately when we exit, you should be given a survey to complete. The survey to complete is a couple multiple choice sections where you can select all that apply, and it says that, okay, you know, which franchises do I want my listings to go to? And you can check the first box that says all franchises, or you can go down the list and, you know, the other 20 are below that. This should be submitted by the broker of record, not the individual office managers. Now, if you are an office manager or general manager responding for the broker of record, you know, type the broker's name in the window and then your initials lowercase after it, just like a secretary would do if they were completing a document for somebody else. And you know, I'll receive those and tally those, and it's going to be a kind of a big job here at the board office, because now with your opt-in responses, I have to somehow notify all these franchises that these are the people that you are now allowed to display after June 13th. So it's going to kind of be, as I was saying to Randy Seiner when we were at Washington, D.C., and they passed this rule, at least I know I have a job for the rest of the year just keeping track of all this paperwork and responding to the franchises. So remember, this is just affecting the big national websites. So your own website will still show all the listings out of Jersey Shore MLS. If you use the Atlantic County MLS or the Monmouth MLS, your website will still show all those listings. This just affects the big guys at the top of the food chain, those franchisors that have what some people argued turned out to be a national MLS on their website. So, you know, it's not going to affect pretty much your day-to-day operations, but we do need you to respond and opt in, because if you do not respond to this, it effectively becomes a no vote and your listings will disappear on June 13th. That's the last day they will show up. So that's it for the main portion of the franchisor discussion. When we get done, like I said, the survey will pop up and you'll be able to check off the boxes, type your name in the window, and, you know, I'll tally the responses and figure out how I'm supposed to send them off to the national franchises. And I just wanted to finish up with another little tidbit that's unrelated to the franchisor issue, but still something that really impacts every real estate agent, every broker, every website on the internet, because there's this company, Civics DDI, that has owned a patent since the mid-1990s. And their patent was originally designed with the idea in mind, well, if I'm on vacation, how do I know what there is to do, what points of interest, and what are the things to see in the area where I'm located? So they've patented the idea of using a geographic basis to display information from another database. And this company, Civics, has gone through the travel industry. They've sued Microsoft and won. They've sued Google and won. They've gone after all the big internet giants, and now they're working on the real estate industry. So NAR has worked out a deal, and OCBR and CoreLogic, the owners of Innovia, will be buying the sublicense so that all Jersey Shore MLS members can continue to operate websites that allow people to search for listings. Otherwise, it would be the kind of a thing that these guys at Civics would be coming after you individually for violating their patent because you have a website that allows people to search for homes for sale with a geographic basis. So Ocean County and CoreLogic will be taking care of anybody who's a Jersey Shore MLS user, and you will have to pay attention to every other MLS that you might subscribe to, because they may have to buy the licenses individually, and depending on the cost and how many people and how much the vendor can afford to cover this, you might have to chip in something for your other MLSs. But right now, for Ocean County and Innovia, Jersey Shore MLS, we're picking up the tab. So it'll be business as usual. Just carry on with your websites. Nothing to worry about. Okay. Back to the original issue, and back to the topic about the opt-in. Remember, if you do not respond, it's effectively a no vote. That the way that this directive was written is that you have to affirmatively say, yes, I want my listings to be shown on all these national franchises. So when we're finished with the webinar, I've recorded it so that if anybody has not attended, there's a lot of different resources as well on Realtor.org that you can go up there and just search, and they have links under the law and legal section to this directive, so you can read the actual rule that came out of NAR and get a better handle on it. So thank you very much for your attendance. I knew this was going to be short, sweet, to the point. Don't read too much into it. It's business as usual on your individual websites, but just remember that if you do not respond to the survey at the end of this, on June 13th, your listings will disappear from all of the other national franchise websites, or if you're an independent, your listings will disappear from every national franchise website, and you'll lose those leads from buyers that may be there. So thank you very much. That's it. Nothing too much else going on, and just you can send me an email or call me at the board office if you have more questions. Thank you very much. Have a great day.